Hi everyone, so I've got another Inlovearts shop craft haul for you, but we've got some fantastic products here, a bit of Christmas, bit of not Christmas. So I'm going to start with this one. So this is like a border die, so there's no cutting edge here, it's just all this top detail, so you could have it as a, if you wanted like a gatefold card or whatever. So I'm going to show you now what the measurements are. And so the width of it is 5.5. And then obviously now the depth, depending on how much you want to put on. So if we just go for the cut elements, you get up at about 2 inches. So from that point there through to this is probably the lowest point, it's about 2 inches. And obviously then you can make it thicker. So the minimum you would really want your strip to be minimum 2 1/8, and then you can make it deeper if you want to. But yeah, I just thought it was a really nice die, super cool. So I'll show you now what I made using this die. Okay, so with that poinsettia die, this is what I've made. So I've made a 5x7 kind of flap card, and I've used it to cut out, so obviously it doesn't cut an actual panel out, it just cuts an edge, it's like a border die. So I've used it to cut a border on the front of that flap, and then I've just used another Inloveart die at the back there, and yeah, so that's what I've done using that die. Next up we have this die. So this, I like the look of this because you've got these two pieces which kind of go top and bottom if you want to do it how they, so you can do what you want with it, but you've got like an ivy holly kind of border, as it were, and little berries that can go on. And then you've also got we wish you a Merry Christmas, and this is all one piece. So if you can see that, it's all one piece. So I just thought that's really cool because obviously all the letters are kind of joined together, so that is like literally one chunk. Obviously if you wanted to split it up, you could probably just trim round and have Merry Christmas and have we wish you a, separate. But I'd probably leave it all together if I'm honest. But I just really like this. So the actual sentiment itself measures about 3 5/8 by about 1 3/4. And then the two borders, one of them's slightly bigger than the other. So the biggest one is about 3 7/8 by about 1 3/4. And the other one is about 3 7/8. It's the same by 1 1.5 is that one. So that's that. So I'll show you now what I did using this die. Then with the We Wish You a Merry Christmas die, I cut it out of green card for the holly, and then I've used the white glitter adhesive for the We Wish You a Merry, and then I've put it onto red card and I've hand cut out round the red. And so I've just made this, which is like a extended barn door gatefold card in a 5x7. And so that is what I've made using that die. Next up we have this one, which is Merry Christmas, but I like the fact that you got these little reindeer antlers on the side of the Merry, and also like the font as well, and the fact you get the shadow die. You know me, I like a shadow die. So this die measures, in total, it's about 3.5 by about 2.5, and that's obviously with the shadow die. So the actual font itself is slightly smaller. Then you've got these little holly and berries, tiny but they'd be quite nice to maybe cut out of a card. But yeah, so that is that die. So I'll show you now what I made using this die. Then with the Merry Christmas, I've cut it out of red glitter self-adhesive card, as you can see, and then I've cut the shadow part out of white card, and I've just done a very simple slimline card. It's got like a Z fold on the front, and just stuck it on the front there. I just think it's really nice and easy, nice and simple. Then we've got this die, which I really like the look of. Now, I've seen similar dies to this before, other places, and and also on In Love and Coke Rosa, and so I was, you know, debating whether to get it or not, but I decided I'm going to go for it. And these are little Christmas lights, but they're not that little, they're quite big, and I like the fact they were big because it just makes them a bit more, you know, a bit more of a feature. And then you've obviously got the string here, and you could do lots of things with that. And then you've also got some text as well here, let your heart be light. And so, yeah, so I just thought they were quite cool. So the actual lights themselves are about 1 3/4 by about 3/4 of an inch, roughly. I think they're all pretty much kind of that kind of size. That one's, yeah, 1 3/4. They're all about the same sort of size, various in thicknesses. And then the actual writing itself is about 3 inches by about 1 5/8 maybe. And then this one here is about 4 3/4 by about 2 1/8. So yeah, so I just thought it's quite a cool little set. So I'll show you now what I did using this die. Then with those lights, I love these are great. So I cut 2 of the kind of wire, cut 2 of the wire out, and then just 1 set of the lights. This is the full set, so you get 6 bulbs in total. And I've just cut them out of the various different mirrored card. And then what I've done is I've gone ahead and then cut just the tops out of the silver and kind of laid them back on top over the top, so you get that look of, like, you know, the fairy light. And so then I've cut the let your heart be light out of the actual card, and then I've just mounted a piece of white behind. So you can either write your message here if you want to, or you could put a white piece inside and mount it there. So that is what I did using that die. Next up we have this die, which is like a border frame background die, and it could be used for anything. So you could make it Christmassy, or you could make it floral. It's got a nice stitched edge. It measures about 5.5 by about 3 7/8, and the internal frame there, from the inside of the internal frame, measures about just under 2 3/4 by 1 5/8 roughly. So yeah, so that's that. So I'll show you now what I made using this die. Then with this frame die, I've cut it out of like a matte mirror, mounted it onto acetate, which is why it all shines, and then I've just built it into the front of this card here. And then I just added little bees. These are from a previous Inlovearts shop haul. Just added those bees, then you've got a panel there, and then in here you can then go ahead and write your message. And so that's just a normal 5x7, but again, as you can see, it's beautiful. And you could Christmas this up. That's what I like about this floral panel, is you really could use it for anything. So obviously here I've used it for a thank you card, but the leaves are such that if you wanted to add little poinsettia flowers in amongst here, you really could. It's just a very nice frame. It could be used at any time for anything. So yeah, so that's what I did using that die. Next up we have this one, which is like a combination. So you've got birthday, and then the shadow for birthday, and then you've got a background die with loads of little candles. And I just thought this is so cool, if you can see the detail of the candles there. So the actual background die measures 3 7/8 by about 5.5, and then the birthday with the shadow measures about 3 1/4 by about 1.5 roughly. And then obviously the die would be, the actual birthday itself is just fractionally smaller. So yeah, I just thought it was super cool, very nice. And so I'll show you now what I made using this die. Then with this candle background, what I've done is I've cut it out of glitter card and just mounted it, so you can see all the little candles. And then the birthday I've cut out of gold and then mounted it onto the white shadow. This is a previous Inlovearts shop die, so I've just teamed it up with that happy, because that was on its own anyway, and it's already got a shadow, but I thought it goes quite nicely together. And then just put it on the back of this. This is another one of those flap cards, a bit like the poinsettia one that you will see. And yeah, so that's what I did using that die. So there you go. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to use my code ICEDImages, all in one word, which will give you 20% off your order. Also, make sure you go and check out the links in the description below because they're affiliate links, so they do then know that you've come via me, which obviously helps the channel out. Yeah, and like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you don't ever miss a video. And I will see you again next time. Bye, everyone.